Welcome back, it's me Lou, and I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. And today we are taking a look at a custom action figure that I made, and it is this, the Fast and Furious Luke Hobbs action figure. Alright, so this was a quick and dirty custom I made tonight. I was staring at my custom G.I. Joe classified roadblock figure, the one that was based off of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's appearance in the G.I. Joe Retaliation movie. And I just stared at it for like a couple of minutes, and I was thinking to myself, it would be so easy to convert that into a Luke Hobbs action figure. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Luke Hobbs is played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and it's a reoccurring character in some of the Fast and Furious movies. And more recently, I think maybe a year or two ago, he had his own spin-off movie. It was called Hobbs and Shaw, and that was with Jason Statham. So the running joke for me with The Rock is that for some reason, in a bunch of his movies, he's always wearing tactical vests. He wore a different tactical vest in the Fast and Furious movies. He wore a tactical vest in G.I. Joe. And for me, it was like one of those things where, he was kind of just like, I don't know, just glued to wearing a vest in all his movies. So I was looking at my G.I. Joe figure tonight, and I'm like, it'd be so easy just to take off the G.I. Joe gung-ho vest and then throw on a tactical vest, and then, boom, instant Fast and Furious Luke Hobbs. So that's what we have here. In addition to, making this quick and dirty custom of the action figure, I even made a custom package for it. As I mentioned in previous videos, for me, part of the fun, or at least half of the fun in creating a custom action figure is also making custom packaging for it, whether it be a box or a card or a blister, just because it kind of gives me the feels in the sense that it's almost like an authentic product in a way. I really want to recreate that feeling like when you walk down the toy aisle and then you see a new action figure the first time, and then, everything's new about it, not just the action figure, but even like the card it's on or the packaging. Anytime a company refreshes their package design and changes it out, it's always kind of cool to me. So, for me, it would have been very easy to make the figure, but I also wanted at the same time to make a custom card for it just so I could display it, and hang it on my wall and have it look all cool and professional. So this was a quick and dirty job. I did this all in the span of maybe 2.5 hours. More time was spent creating the card than the figure. All I had to do with the figure was take my previous custom G.I. Joe Rock figure and just make a couple of changes and swap out the vest. And if you haven't seen it yet, go back. There's a couple of videos back where I made a custom G.I. Joe roadblock figure, and it's essentially this guy. He just looks more like how he does in G.I. Joe Retaliation. It's not accurate, but it's, inspired by. Likewise, this figure isn't accurate to how he looks in the movie. It's kind of more of a close approximation. I just had to work with, what parts were available to me. And we'll go into that a little bit. But for now, let's take a look at this custom. So examining the packaging, for some of my customs, the easiest way I do a box is that I'll get like a clear plastic protector case. And this one I think was made by, I believe, Figure Shield FS. So Figure Shield, they make protective packages for, I think, Star Wars Black Series and Marvel Legends. So these are clear plastic cases, and if you're a mint on card collector, what this allows you to do is take your Star Wars Black Series or Marvel Legends while they're still in the box, and you can actually put them and store them in here. So it protects not only the figure but the box it comes in. And for me, they give you so much interior real estate is that I could easily just use this for a custom figure, and I'll show you in a second. So the clamshell that Figure Shield makes, it's actually two pieces. There's a front and then there's a back. And I believe this size Figure Shield was designed for maybe Marvel Legends or WWE Elites. I can't remember. But this was one of their earlier production runs, and the plastic isn't as sharp as it should look. It's a little bit kind of a little, just like a little cloudy, so the image isn't coming in as crisp. But let's open this up. So it tabs in the tops, but for me, I just want to open up the bottom. And as you can see, it's two separate pieces. There's the back and the front. And then here's my custom card I made with the figure. Yeah, so here we have our custom Fast and Furious card that I made. So I designed the card in Photoshop. It was a quick job. I just, all the images. I just did a Google search and I pulled up an image of The Rock as Luke Hobbs, and somewhere I found a logo and I just slapped it on here and just created the background. Found some cars and kind of blurred the image to kind of recreate that. Like if you ever see the Fast and Furious posters, there's always cars on them, and they're kind of going through a motion blur, and I kind of applied that there and gave it like the bright colors and the black and the kind of like steel look. And here's The Rock, aka Luke Hobbs in the Fast and Furious movies. And I'll go into the customization of this figure in a second. So here's the makeshift card. We have the little, I believe that's a butterfly hole for the pegs, if this is to hang on the shelf. This is for ages 14 and up. There's a warning here, choking hazard. We have the Fast and Furious logo, Luke Hobbs, his title's right there. I believe this image was from his first appearance, and I think that was Fast and Furious, might have been 6? I don't know, all those movies kind of blur together for me. And Universal logo on the back. I don't know, I was really lazy. I didn't want to get too into this, so I'm like, I'll just slap on a picture of The Rock in his vest and, with a chain gun. And the Universal logo. I could have went further with it. I forgot I wanted to add a barcode and maybe like some copy here with the copyright info and maybe the brief description of the character, but I was already putting too much time into this than I wanted to, so I'm like, let's just keep it simple. So in order to fix the figure onto this card, it's held in place with a twist tie right here, and I just poked in 2 holes with an ice pick. And let's remove the figure real quick. So this is what holds the figure in place while it's in the plastic protector case. So yeah, this card was designed entirely in Photoshop. It was printed on glossy stock, but the photo paper I was using, for some reason, it wasn't taking the ink all that well. And if you look here, the ink was kind of smudging off. But in a weird way, it almost kind of looks like a retro card. And if you've seen some of the vintage Star Wars cards they've been putting out, they kind of look like pre-beat up. So, I don't know, I kind of just say, hey, maybe this is kind of like a reaction-inspired card or like one of those throwback Star Wars cards. So here is my Luke Hobbs figure. So if you've seen my video with my G.I. Joe Classified Custom Roadblock, that's essentially The Rock. This is the exact same figure in that video. The only difference is that I took off some of the armored pieces and he has this tactical vest, which is the same color as the vest that he wears in the movie, but it's not the same design. The vest he wore in the first movie, I think he might have wore 2 vests, but his first vest was more of like a SWAT, like a very simple SWAT cop vest, and it wasn't really decked out with anything special. But then I think I'm not sure if this was a later movie, but his later movies he wore tactical vests that were kind of like, they had all the pockets and the pouches and the holsters and the belts. And this one kind of resembles that one a little bit more. So yeah, here's my custom Rock figure. Now half of this figure is a G.I. Joe Classified figure, and half of it is a WWE Mattel basic figure. And let me remove the vest first, and we'll talk a little bit about the vest and the figure. So this vest is really cool because it just unstraps, has 2 harnesses on each side. And you can also recreate Luke Hobbs as he looks like in the movies also, because he's not always wearing the vest. There's parts in the movie where he's just kind of wearing like these Under Armour shirts that are sleeveless. And this rock isn't as swole as the rock in the movies. This was, which rock figure was this? This was one of the more recent basic rock figures that Mattel released. And it's based off an older version of the rock. You can tell by the tattoo here because he still has the Brahma bull. Modern day rock, he got rid of the Brahma bull and he has more tattoos, I believe, on the arm. So yeah, here's my custom rock figure that doubles as either a G.I. Joe Roadblock from Retaliation or Luke Hobbs. So the upper half, from the waist up, that's a Mattel figure. He had like the Rock Brahma Bull logo on his chest, and that was with the American flag. So I took a very fine piece of sandpaper. It was I think a higher grit and or a finer grit. And I kind of did a wet sanding and removed the logo. And with the really finer grit and with the wet sanding, you don't get any scuff marks. It just really cleanly removes the paint. So I got rid of the Brahma Bull. I swapped out the Rock's hands with, I think these are either Marvel Legends hands. And they're black. This one's a trigger finger. Same with this other one. So it looks like it has gloves. So from the waist down, this is a G.I. Joe Classified gung-ho, lower waist and legs. And I think the boots are from one of the G.I. Joe Classified Roadblock figures. So this figure is half G.I. Joe Classified and half Mattel. So you kind of have a weird hybrid of a Hasbro and a Mattel action figure going on here. So when I decided to make this figure, this is the image I kind of worked off of. So my Luke Hobbs isn't accurate by any means. It's just more so inspired by him. It's kind of like a close approximation. So this is the Rock's first appearance, I believe, in the Fast and Furious. And then this is the kind of tactical vest he wore in some of the later ones. It has more of the pouches and the harnesses. And as I was saying earlier, I always kind of joke around that, you know, for some reason, there was a couple years where that's all the Rock wore, regardless of the movie. And then here it was in G.I. Joe, and he's wearing, another tactical vest. So yeah, this is pretty much it. As for this piece here, so some years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, Mattel had a line. They had a subline of WWE action figures. They were called like Creative Superstar. And essentially, you'd buy like it was like a boxed figure, and you'd get like a figure, and it'd come with all these different accessories. So in addition to being like the standard wrestling gimmick, you'd be able to swap in the different accessories and create a new gimmick. For example, there was a Rusev figure, and then you could like swap out the parts and create like the Bulgarian Beast, and he actually looked like a monster. There was a Roman Reigns figure, and in addition to looking like Roman Reigns, he came with these additional pieces so you could swap them out. And he looked like a riot cop, and that's playing off the whole kind of like SHIELD tactical, army unit kind of deal. There was a Stone Cold that looked like a biker. There was a Rock figure that came with like gladiatorial armor. So in addition to those figures, Mattel made these accessory packs. So you could buy these additional accessory packs to customize the figures even further. And I believe there were 3 accessory packs for the Creative Superstar line. There was the Vigilante, which included this tactical vest, a riot helmet, and I think like a ball and chain or a baton. There was a referee kit that came with like a referee shirt, a Money in the Bank briefcase, and a camera. And then there was like a third accessory pack. I think that was called like the Knight, and it came with like gladiatorial armor and a helmet and like a torch and a shield. But for this figure, I used the Vigilante accessory pack just because it had this tactical vest, and it was the right color to use to recreate the Rock as he appeared in Fast and Furious. And I want to say, I think this vest might have been the vest used for maybe the Elite Roman Reigns figure, but it was just remolded in this like different colored plastic, not black. So, when I saw this, I'm like, I'll just slap this on, and then, boom, instant Luke Hobbs action figure. And for me, it's not perfect, but I don't know. It was just a fun thing for me to do tonight to kill some time. I was kind of inspired, and it was kind of a challenge for me. I just kind of really wanted to see if it was something I could pull off. And you know, it's a close approximation. It's not like an exact, you know, one-for-one recreation of his character in the movie, but I think for the most part, if someone saw this and they saw it on the card, you know, they get the point. You're like, oh, it's The Rock in the Fast and Furious. So, we can reassemble the Roadblock figure while we're at it right now. So, going backwards, if you haven't, and I mentioned this earlier, go back and look through my videos and you'll find a review on this figure. This is my custom G.I. Joe Retaliation Roadblock. And this is The Rock as he appeared in the movie. So, you know, this is essentially Gung Ho's vest. And again, this isn't a one-for-one perfect representation of The Rock in that movie. It's just more of like an approximation or kind of like an inspired by look. And the vest fits easily on this figure. And then bam, we have The Rock from G.I. Joe Retaliation. And then let's give him his other belts and harnesses here. I'm not sure if this is backwards. This way. Yeah, so for me, I love the G.I. Joe Classified line of action figures. And every time I see a new figure comes out, I just kind of stare at them. And then I'm in my head, I'm always trying to figure out, okay, what custom could I make next, you know, using a G.I. Joe Classified dude? You know, because, I mean, you could just make more G.I. Joe characters out of them, but I always think it's kind of fun when you, like, decide to, like, go off the beaten path and, you know, make something that's kind of a little bit more unique and different. And in this case, you know, recreating The Rock as he appeared in Retaliation. And I have other ideas in my head that I kind of want to, like, take a gamble on in the future. So, yeah, here we go. Now he's The Rock as he appears in G.I. Joe. And this is the Gung Ho tray. I cut out the back so he'd fit a little bit better. And let's get him back in the G.I. Joe box. So there we go. Bam. It's The Rock as Roadblock in G.I. Joe Retaliation. So it's like, you know, this figure now serves a dual purpose. It can either be the Roadblock or it could be Luke Hobbs. So, I don't know. I thought it was just a fun little project for tonight. So, as I've mentioned before, creating custom action figures, it's a really cool and fun hobby. If you haven't done it yet, I highly suggest you do it. You know, start off small, you know, maybe just do a repaint or even something as simple as a head swap. And then just go from there. If there's a character from a video game or a movie or a TV show or a comic book that you really like and they don't make it in action figure form, you know, take it upon yourself to make that action figure. I think the experience is very rewarding. And this is cool. It's another skill or craft you can add under your belt, and the results will always surprise you. So, wrapping this up, once again, my name is Lou. Thank you so much for checking out this video. And if I inspired you in any way, I'm very grateful. You know, I always enjoy reading people's comments about my customs or just my toys in general. It's always really cool. So thanks for that. And I wish you well, and I'll talk to you soon. Talk to you later.